I hold the ring inside my trouser pocket, and when I dance around it jingles and jangles around in my pocket. I can feel it dancing around in my pocket when I do my hobbit dance.
Good evening.
Hello, I'm Count Dracula.
Hey everyone, Actual Dracula here, and welcome to another episode of Interview with the Dracula. And I'm excited for this one. Got a special guest tonight. I know normally on this show, I've got comic creators, writers, artists, what have you. No letterers so far. I don't know. They tend to be prima donnas. So we'll see. I've been trying to land a couple of big letterers. Hasn't happened quite yet. But in the meantime, I do have a great guest tonight. He is a fellow YouTuber, actually, also the host of a really great podcast. He's a comic seller. And, what else? We're going to find out what else this guy's all about tonight, I think.
Hooray!
Yeah. I hit that by accident. I don't want to do a preemptive hooray, but it looks like I did. Yeah, I don't know what else to say other than let's bring out my guest. And I could have swore I had an intro for this guy. Yes.
Gungas. Jar Jar is a key to all this.
Oh! Mr. Bombad! Oh!
Oh! Hello, it's not Jar Jar. Okay. It's Dave, aka West Coast Davengers.
That's me. I didn't know if I should bring some garlic to this fight, but I have a crucifix.
Well, I'll have I just ate a whole bunch of garlic. That myth has been busted.
All right.
And the crucifix thing, I don't got an issue with that either. I've been inside of plenty of churches. Didn't seem to have any. Well, yeah, it's probably worse for you than it is for me.
It backfires. My head starts burning when I do this.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I'm looking forward to this. Getting to know Dave a little better, absolutely. And but I think okay. See, you're right. I'm glad you got the notes about what to bring to the show. Okay. Oh, tongs too. We're gonna have a barbecue.
Yeah. I'm just prepared. I'm prepared for this amazing time we're gonna have tonight.
You're just grilling over there on the side. Yeah. Well,
we got a claim for B. That'll be $10, Yeti.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of, I was gonna say hi to the chat before we get into this. We got Mr. Gene Mallow in the house who beat Las Cruces. How about that? I don't
New
even
Mexico,
know if Las
like
Cruces is here.
The whole town.
Yeah. So Las Cruces, basically everyone in Las Cruces, New Mexico, he beat them all. And Comics by the Bay, Matt also beating Las Cruces. And we've got someone named West Coast Davengers in the chat. Beat everyone off.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you just got to beat everybody off to be first.
Yeah. And we got Yeti, punk pop culturist, in the house as well. And Cole's Comic claims, what are your favorite hot dog toppings? He's right off, off the rip with a great question. I don't know if you want to answer that right now. You
I mean,
feel free.
honestly, I'm just a sucker for a good homemade mustard or peanut butter.
Peanut butter.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a hot dog spot here in Tacoma called Red Hot. I believe it's called Red Hot,
Yeah.
something like that. And they do a peanut butter bacon hot dog. It's fucking awesome.
You know, I mean, I would certainly eat that. I'll eat just about anything. And yes, Yeti has claimed B already. So
All right. Well, I have plenty of Turoks for everybody.
we also
What
got
up, Andrew?
Andrew joining us, and Cole has called the cops on Dave. Okay.
That's okay. They don't come to this house anymore.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, I have bacon all over the place, so they don't come to the house. They don't want to be around themselves.
Yeah. You get some peanut butter, and then you got yourself your hot dog toppings.
That's true. That's true.
Gene, not a fan of that. You know, you'd think he might be, being from Quebec and all, but no.
Huh? Is it maybe he's what's a Quebec hot dog? Is there
Actually, I don't. The steamies. They do like steamed hot dogs. That's a
okay.
big Montreal thing. Yeah.
I like Montreal.
I think,
I like Montreal a lot.
yeah, I've only been once actually, many years ago. Yeah, I gotta get back there. I have traveled nowhere in my own country, really, other than Montreal.
I've been to most of the major cities on the two coastal areas: Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, and then Vancouver.
Yeah, so you've seen more of Canada than I have, but it's a big country. So.
It's fucking huge.
Yeah. It's nothing is there's no short drives to anywhere really. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite. I mean, we're smaller, but we're still huge to the U.S. Like
that's true.
Yeah, and then
no major cities like within driving distance of each other.
Oh
yeah. There you go. The Quebec hot dog steamed with mustard. Yeah.
I like my.
I love. I don't know about you, but I love a good old Cleveland steamer.
A Cleveland steamer, yes. Well, who doesn't? Who doesn't love a good old Cleveland steamer, especially when you got to cook it in the Dutch oven.
That's the only way. It's the only way to do it.
What up, Derek?
Got Derek joining us as well. Hello. Yeah. So, great show. Thanks for joining us.
And there we go. See you later, everybody.
I forgot we just started. Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know who you are West Coast Davengers is your YouTube channel.
Yes.
Where you I mean, let's break it down. What you've got, you've got some unboxing videos. You've got some really great interviews, and of course, you do your West Coast Wednesday live sales. And what else? Sunday sit down.
Sunday sit down was a thing for a while. Yeah. Unboxing videos. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No. What were you gonna say?
Oh, and then I buy collections, and that was always one of the major things on the channel. Was like, hey, I just bought a 25 long box collection. Let's see what I got.
So is that kind of how it like you decided to start was with the sales?
The way I decided to start it was I started like going back. Me and my buddy we started going on road trips. He lives in Northern California, and I live obviously in the Northwest outside of Seattle. And his name's Dave. So we went on this road trip where I flew down to San Francisco, and then we drove up, hitting as many comic stores and antique malls and stuff like that along the way. We ended up doing that a couple times, but I just did my first like haul video, and then it like spiraled into me buying collections and doing more of those videos. And then I quit my job and decided to just sell comics full time. And that was, 2.5, almost 3 years ago now. And there was never a plan at the beginning, to do what I did. But then like I was like, I want to do interviews. I want to talk to other comic creators. And then it just became this thing where now it's like, it's an 80-hour work week for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it definitely shows in that the quality of the content on your channel, especially your interviews. Like when I started my channel, that was right off the bat one of the main reasons why I wanted to start a YouTube channel was it would possibly give me the opportunity to speak with, creators that I
Mhm.
really admired, and I've been lucky enough to do a few. Um, you've landed some pretty big gets. I mean, Todd McFarlane for one,
Yeah, I'm pretty fortunate on
uh,
that one.
yeah, Eric Larson, Daniel Warren Johnson, and your Mike Allred one drops tomorrow, correct?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, so
that's gonna be a good one for everybody. It's 2
mhm,
hours, and it's just like we go off tangents to music and movies and just, like, kinda nerding out on everything and original art, and he's just such a nice guy and such a well-spoken guy,
mhm.
and a very positive person.
Yeah, I've never met him or talked to him, but I've watched enough interviews with him to kind of get that. He seems like a really cool dude. I'd definitely like to try and get him on my channel as well at some point. And Derek saying, I hear Cleveland Steamer, I show up, it's like my bad signal. We got Callie joining us as well, calling
Bag
for some
milk.
bagged milk. All
I'm
right.
into it. Callie, have you ever had a bag of pizza? That's also very good.
Bag of pizza.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound so good. But um yeah, but I watch a lot of creator interviews, and as I said, I do my own and try to so I know how much work can go into
Mm.
putting together, something like that. And so I really enjoy yours. I think you do a fantastic job.
Thank
You
you.
always have great questions, and the amount of work you put into it shows. I know
Thanks.
it's we both recently interviewed Chip Zdarsky, and
Yeah.
I mean, he's a total jerk in both of them, uh, obviously. But
Yeah, he did have some choice words to say about you, but, I mean, you got it back. We tag teamed him in the same week, and I think he
yeah,
felt the love, if you know what I'm saying.
yeah, I certainly
Yeah.
hope so.
Yeah, it might be a little sore, but he felt the love.
Yeah, Callie's down to try pizza in almost any form.
Yeah, see?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
I'm into
yeah,
it.
I'm not gonna say no to pizza.
I used to ask my grandpa, like, when he was and this was, like, in the late '80s, early '90s when I was a kid, and he was, like, very into the whole smoothie thing before smoothies were a thing, and
Mhm.
so he would like, he would make s smoothies and stuff, and I asked him once if we could put a slice of pizza in the blender, and he just shut it down real quick, and,
Mm.
I've never been the same since.
Well, um, yeah, I can't say as that sounds too appealing. Um, but Callie,
Alright.
Callie,
Yes.
if you are interested, give this a shot. Give the pizza smoothie a shot and let us know. Maybe you'll
Yeah,
become a changed man. Yeah. um, I I did want to get back to I had something to ask about the interviews, but
yeah,
going back to your live sales, because that is such a big part of your channel.
mhm.
As you said, I imagine you buy collections pretty fairly regularly, right?
I try.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
sometimes it's dry spells usually, like, around the end of the year through, like, the beginning of the summer. People
Mhm.
aren't really they're not really moving things out, they're not thinking about selling things, but then the summer hits, and it usually, like I'll go from, like, having not bought a collection to, like, 4 of them will pop up within a week, and I'll have to be like, "Well, I can't spend all of the money, but I can try."
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Like when I first got back into collecting a few years ago, it also happened to be right at the beginning of the pandemic.
Mhm.
So, that's when I ended up kind of watching a bunch of live sales on Instagram and YouTube and stuff. And
Mhm.
even now, occasionally I'll pop into auctions or sales just to look. Um, and they seem very hit or miss. Like
Sure.
even so, but you seem to have, pretty fairly regular, audience, and you're obviously able to make a living from this, right?
Yeah.
And so is this something you think that you're gonna have you ever considered other avenues, say something like selling on Whatnot? Have you considered Whatnot? Have you tried Whatnot?
I jumped on the Whatnot bandwagon about 2 years ago, like late,
Mhm.
I think it was late 2022, or no, it might have been late 2021. I can't remember. Probably late
Mhm.
2022. And it was great for like 6, 7 months. And a lot of my regulars I've taken them from Whatnot. Like they saw the
Yeah.
light and they came with me. Um, but yeah, when they started onboarding everybody and their mother, I got out.
Mhm.
I got out because it was no longer like, oh, you've got 1,000 or 1,500 followers. That means everybody knows when you do a show. It became another fight for the algorithm where like you have to be on there constantly and you have
Yeah.
to keep doing it. I was like, fuck that. And I don't like, one of the reasons for starting my own business was for the fact that I didn't want to work for anybody else ever again. And I didn't want to
Mhm.
give somebody else my money. I have to
Yep.
give the US government enough of my money as it is. Otherwise, they're going to throw me in jail and shove a fucking lead pipe in my ass. But, I just don't, I don't like the systems that are set up where like 15% of your sales are going to go to this corporation or 20% of so, um, oh, hey, what's up, Dr. Von
Yeah,
Hoots Comics
that's
from
under
Spiral Dimension?
yeah, we got Doc in the house. He's the dork from the UK live streams. Yeah. Yeah. That's
Um,
that's the Doc. Good doctor.
but
I,
I've had a oh, sorry.
oh no, go ahead.
I've had an eBay store for
Mhm.
years now. I've been on eBay for years. So I put stuff on eBay that just sits there and it's
Yeah.
like truly passive income. For example, oh, here we go. I have a stack of these zombie tramps that I just not a lot of people buy them from me. Like it's not,
Mhm.
you know, so I throw them on eBay and they sit there and wake up in the morning and there'll be $100 sale and I'll be like, cool, good. It's um, but Whatnot is just another one of those things where you're doing more work and you're not making the money. Whereas my sales with the regulars and all that, like I know what people are like. If you're a regular, I'm going to put out books that you specifically are going to want.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
and if you're not a regular, you're going to see when you come into one of my sales, you know, not toot my own horn, but this, I'm selling at great prices. Um, I'm not trying to destroy anybody's bank account. I'm really easy to work with. I ship quick and I love comics. So, I'm not one of those people that's just like this fucking just oh, you're ripping me off. Like I'm not like that. I like to have a party. I like to enjoy what I do and I think a lot of people enjoy it being a part of that.
Yeah, I think so too. What's going on? Got John's comments with
What's up,
kids
John?
joining us. And Derek says, to me, Whatnot always felt like, how can I trick these people into buying literal shit? Totally used car salesman fun. Yeah,
Well,
I can see
he's
that.
right. He's right
Yeah,
though. When I
yeah.
f- when I first started on Whatnot, it was still kind of on the downswing of the pandemic,
Mhm.
and I would just put books out. Like I would put out like like one of those 100-page Batmans from the late 60s, early 70s. And I watched one sell for $70 once.
Yeah,
I started that shit at like $5, but
yeah.
people were just buying everything. But then I cultivated like a really good customer base on there. I had a playlist and it would just like it would be like half karaoke, half comic selling. But then it just they onboarded, like I said, everybody, and I was just like, I'm over it.
They onboarded me. I mean, I I literally did 2 shows on Whatnot, and I was just like, it wasn't for me,
Yeah,
And, I mean, not that I'm like, I just was I just had some books I wanted to sell, so it wasn't like gonna be a regular thing for me anyway.
sure.
But even after those 2 shows, I was just like, yeah, there was something about it I just didn't like. I felt like pressure doing it somehow, and like I'm used
Yeah,
to being on YouTube, but like I don't know. I think it was the whole auction style setup of it. It was yeah, it was just not for me. Uh, I,
yeah.
I know, and some people have had a lot of success with it. My friend Ozzy has been a regular seller and whatnot for, I think, coming up 3 years now.
Hmm.
And but I think a big part of his success has been that like he's selling books that people actually really want. Bronze Age Marvel,
Sure.
Silver Age Marvel, like good stuff. Um, anyhow, all that being said about YouTube, whatnot, have you ever have you considered it somewhere down the line is would you ever want your own brick and mortar shop, or would you rather just maintain your sanity such as it is?
Well, what little sanity I have left. I thought about it a couple years ago. I've thought
Mhm.
about it on and off my life because I've worked in comics a couple of different times in my life. Um, and honestly, it's just too much. Like
Mhm.
alone in Washington on the I-5 corridor from Bellingham down to Olympia, almost every single store in the last 3 years has been broken into.
Oh,
A couple
wow.
of stores have been broken into 3 times.
Yeah.
Um, I have friends that own comic shops. Every single one that I know that I am friendly with in this state has been broken into. Um, that's one thing that I don't wanna deal with.
Mhm.
The other thing is like I devote all my time to what I do. Um, I don't really have much of I don't care about a social life anymore because I live that life a bunch.
Mhm.
Um, I'm happy doing it like in my own space. If anything, I'd open a private space, like a kind of by appointment only type thing, and a
Right.
place I can
Yeah, yeah.
that would double as a studio and live sale studio.
Yeah.
But there are some great comic shops out there, a lot of them, I should say.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I really want to add my hat to that mix, but it's not out of the question. It's just unlikely.
Yeah, yeah, that's understandable. And it's just, I mean, if what you're doing now is working and uh, it just seems like it's a huge risk anyway, starting up, any business. But when
Yeah.
you are getting into, you now have this one specific, retail space, any sort of retail, there's just a huge amount of risk involved, red tape, all kinds of things.
Yeah.
That
The
you know, it, it's not. It's not, and it's definitely not for everyone. Because I know plenty of people have opened their own shops, and like you said, either things like getting broken into. That happens. That seems to be
Yeah.
happening more and more frequently, unfortunately.
Mhm. Yeah,
But
there's
also just the reality setting in of like that that machine, you've got to run that machine. It's different, right? It's
very it's and I wouldn't even if I was opening a shop, I wouldn't
mhm,
touch single issues, new
mhm.
issues. I would
Yeah.
do trades and hardcovers, artist editions, but I would never get into the new issue game. It is unfortunately still a losing proposition.
Yeah. Yeah. It's it seems like it, unless you're one of the, bigger shops, I suppose,
Yeah.
that can essentially it's because they, could afford to do it because they have, a customer base, you know.
Mhm.
But how much money are they making off those? I mean, it's
Yeah.
just not that viable. Yeah.
The
Uh,
only thing about owning a shop that is really the coolest thing about owning a shop is the fact that collections walk in. You don't
yes.
have to
Right.
chase them, they walk in.
Mhm.
But I like the hunt. That's why
Yeah.
I do what I do because I enjoy driving somewhere to go look at a collection. I enjoy, going to garage sales and stuff like that. That's kind of the genesis of the channel itself was the garage sales, the flea markets, the hunt.
Yeah.
And so I can do that pretty much any day. I can just leave my house and go to every comic shop or any comic shop I want to. Um,
Yeah.
and I can't do that if I'm tethered to a store.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not like it is 30 years ago, where, now the business of buying and selling comics and collectibles in general is like Doc says, it's more like an idea than a practical business, like having a
Yeah.
shop, because it can be whatever you want it to be in a way if you manage to find, customers.
Mhm.
Which actually, I was wondering, like, how how long did it take you to build enough of a following to kind of make it viable in terms of your your live sales?
It took a little bit. I mean, like, I'm not I'm not high on myself. Like, I don't have the greatest self-esteem, but I do know that I am entertaining and engaging. And so,
Hmm.
no offense to a lot of the comic sellers out there, most of the comic sellers out there, but I have personality, and that's what people tethered themselves to. And I just acted like me. And over the course of like 6 months, I realized that there were people that liked my brand of crazy.
Hmm.
I would sing random songs. I like Doc said, I had the phrase "See Todd, buy Todd," and I just so it didn't take that long. But the YouTube thing, the Instagram one, didn't take as long. The YouTube, I had to keep working, had to keep working, had to keep working. And then one day I went, I was getting I was doing my live sales on Instagram, sorry. And they started limiting me all of a sudden to an hour. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. I have this YouTube channel. We're gonna move my live sales to YouTube. And then people came and more people came. And then it was weird. Like my UK trip last year, I went from like before I went to the UK, I was like averaging 30, 40 people a night. I came back from the UK and all of a sudden it was 60 people. And then like 2 weeks later, it was 65. And then after the Matt Nelson and McFarlane interviews, it was 100.
Hmm.
So it was just like, it was like that one domino just fell. And then it was like a landslide of having a great customer base. I have
Yeah,
some
awesome.
news
Hey,
here.
yeah, here's we got Manu joining us. You have absolutely.
Je
Je
ne
ne
sais
sais
quoi.
quoi.
Can I answer?
Uh,
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
I was just gonna say there, yes, Doc was pointing out the Turox.
Doc had
Yes,
a question above, and I just wanted to I didn't want to
I
lose it.
was I was gonna get to
Okay.
that. Is this the one? What did it feel like
Yeah.
to interview McFarlane? My wife says the phrase "See Todd, bye Todd" because of you. Yes, great question. What was that like? Because I know that was a big one for you. You're obviously a huge Todd McFarlane fan, as are most
Yeah.
people.
That was like, I was not lying when I told him. I was like, I'm going to create a channel and event. And what didn't create the channel to get him on, but I created the channel and thinking like, one day I'm going to have Todd on here. It was such a fucking rush and it was so cool. But it almost like little story about it. We were supposed to do it the week of the Matt Nelson interview, and they had to push it back to the next. They were like, he's got to cancel this week, but we'll be back in touch and we'll get you in as soon as possible. Like 3 days later, they're like, can you do Monday? And it was like
Mhm.
Friday. I'm like, okay. And so it was supposed to be at like 1:30 my time or 2:30 my time. And I just happened to be sitting here and I opened up StreamYard. I'm like, something's not right. Like this, they said 2 different times in the email. I'm like, I just got to keep this open just in case he comes in early. And I'm sitting here like this, and I see him pop in the window, and I'm like, oh shit. Oh shit, this is happening. And I hit the
Yeah.
button to let him in, and he heard me say that, and he's mocking me. He's like, oh shit, oh shit. But it was nice because like he immediately broke the ice with that.
Yeah.
And he, like, before we started recording, he was just like, he was telling me the reason why he was in that closet was because like his father-in-law just got out of the hospital, or his father just got out of the hospital, and he needed to like just be close enough to hear him if he wakes up, but somewhere quiet. And so yeah, it was great. And like I thought I was only going to have an hour, and like an hour, I cut it out of the video when I asked him, but I was like, are you cool for time? He's like, just ask your questions, don't worry about it. And I did. And then, at like an hour and 35 minutes, I was like, all right, I'm going to let you go, because I could have talked to him for 4 hours.
Yeah. I mean, maybe
But
you should have, right?
it,
Just push it as far as you could. But
but it
yeah,
was, like, it was everything I could have asked for.
yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, it was a great interview, guys. If you haven't seen it, Check it out. Hello, Kenneth. Good to see you. And we got Comic Cap Collectibles joining us as well. Getting mocked by the Todd Father.
It is a life goal. 100%. 100%.
I hope to be someday. So far, I've only been mocked by Chip Zdarsky, which is nothing to brag about.
You got mocked by Chip Zdarsky on your podcast and my podcast.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say? The guy's a jerk, and he's an a-hole and a b-hole.
Yeah, he is.
No,
he
is. Chip is great. Love getting roasted by him, but to be roasted by Todd would be that would be something. So now that you've had Todd on and a bunch of other great guests, who out there, like, who are your white whale guests? Who would you like to get on that you think you might have a hard time getting on, whether because they're inaccessible, or who do you just would really love to sit down and have a conversation with?
White whale by far is Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman is the Mount Rushmore for me. Like there's nobody in comics that I would like to talk to more on my channel than him.
I got an answer. Yeah.
Oh,
Liefeld too. For me, Liefeld's one as well. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Liefeld. I mean, honestly, like I just heard back from Will Sportacio's wife, and he just had thyroid surgery, so I'll get him eventually. But the Image Founders is that's I want to get them all, and then Sienkiewicz.
Yeah, dude, Sienkiewicz. Yeah, Sienkiewicz. There you go. Yeah, Sienkiewicz. That would be huge. I know he doesn't do very many interviews, so that might be a difficult one.
Who's yours?
Neil Gaiman's up there, but my number one white whale, Alan Moore.
Oh, fuck yeah! I mean he does random interviews. He does
do random interviews, and I've seen him do interviews on like pretty small like podcasts. It's not out of the question to get
you just can't ask him about Watchmen.
Well, that's the thing. I wouldn't, and that's the thing. I wouldn't even care. We don't have to talk comics at all, because I'm sure he wouldn't want to. Sure. But there's lots of other things we could talk about. I mean, I just read his last book, Illuminations, which I thought was really good. Not my favorite work of his, but still, I mean, I just like his writing in general, and just how that dude's mind works.
He's very intelligent.
Talk about anything.
Yeah, very intelligent, very interesting.
Yeah, doing an interview with Alan Moore in a castle
or dungeon.
But yeah, Neil Gaiman, that's another one. Absolutely.
I'm DWJ. I want to have a longer conversation with him. And that'll happen eventually. You know who's somebody that's kind of like low key, somebody I really want to talk to? Ron Lim.
Okay. I thought you were going to say actual Dracula, but you're doing it right now. So.
Well, this is a goal that is now we're here. We're
no longer a white whale. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, Ron Lim, I wasn't expecting that, but yeah, that makes sense. He'd be great to talk to.
To me, also, like, for the comics that I grew up reading, he's at the top. Like Infinity, I'm staring at my Infinity Gauntlet poster now, but like that Thanos Quest and Silver Surfer, and then you can even throw in Spider-Man Unlimited. Like he was the one guy that, like, I knew who George Perez was, but as a kid I was more impressed by Ron Lim because his name was synonymous with all of those things, because Perez left Infinity Gauntlet and Lim took over. I met George Perez and I had conversation with him. He's super nice, but obviously, he passed away, and it's terrible.
Yeah.
Callie, if you can hook me up with
Callie. Yeah, do it. I don't know. That would be cool. Here's a great question. Any interest in more modern dudes like Scott Snyder, Ram V, Donny Cates? I have some names I want to get for sure. How about you?
So Derek, I have tweeted at Donny Cates plenty of times. He's never replied. I would love to talk to him. Snyder, I would like to also. Ram V, I'm not super familiar with his work, but I'm sure once I read some, I'll want to. I only read his Devil's Cut story. But I know he's got that he's everybody keeps talking about him. So eventually I'll take the plunge into his
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, Scott Snyder would be cool. I would love to talk to James Tynion. I mean, he's got
Yeah,
a
Tynion's
shit
great.
ton of comics he could talk
Yeah.
about. The dude's prolific as hell, and he is a great writer. One writer I've been trying to get on my channel for a couple years now, and but he's always busy, so which is understandable. But I hit him up every several months. Is Will Prince, W. Maxwell Prince, the writer of Ice Cream Man.
Oh, okay.
I think he's
It's
a
the book.
fantastic writer. We'll see if I'm still trying to make that happen.
There's some people that I keep bugging, and I never get a no. The only person I ever got a no from in person was Art Adams and Simon Bisley. They didn't say
Right.
no, but they said probably not, and I was like, that's fine.
Probably not. Yeah.
I will say one of my goals was to get Becky Cloonan and Tula on the channel,
Right.
and
Yeah.
I was so over the moon happy about that, and we're gonna do another one again soon. And I don't want to bring it down too much, but obviously it was really bummed. Never got to talk to Ed. But we had talked. I kept bugging him, and he's like, when I have time, but his workload, all he did was work and work.
Yeah. I mean, the dude just he was workaholic, man. Like, but the thing is, like, who knows? Yeah, maybe that would have been that. I would have loved that opportunity as well. But you have had Jim on your channel a couple times, I believe.
Yeah,
right?
twice.
Like this.
And he's so much fun to talk to.
Yeah, he's awesome. Obviously, I mean, me and Dave, huge fans of cartoonist kayfabe, which is how I found out about you. Actually, was through that chat, right? And so you did this. This gets to the next point I was going to bring up, because in addition to your channel, you have an awesome podcast. I think they're called podcasts, called Direct Edition, which dude, I think it's great, because it's something definitely different from what you're doing on your channel. And this isn't your first podcast, right? You did
my second podcast,
another podcast with Manu.
It came from the newsstand.
Right. Yeah. Now, I haven't listened to that much, but I have listened to every episode of Direct Edition, and I mean, they're great. You did a fantastic tribute to Ed Piskor in a recent episode. But you're also, like, every episode's been very different. It's so what's kind of is this just kind of like another sort of outlet for you to it seems like just to talk about whatever is on your mind.
It kind of is. I wanted, when me and Manu did the podcast, we did 19 episodes, and we were done basically to save our friendship. Like, it's just hard to work with your friends, and we split amicably to save our friendship, and it's been much better because of it. But I told him, and he knew this, like, I got the fucking bug. Like, I had never done a podcast before. I never really had like any push to do it, and because I'm in this comic thing, I wanted something else, and that's basically what it was. It's like, okay, what's on my mind? Like I remember the second episode, maybe the third, I just sat down and I hit record, and an episode came out without any thought behind it. We kissed and broke up. If you're asking me a long term, like, what I think I want to do with this podcast, like, I want that to be an interview podcast for any person that I am interested in, that I want to talk to.
I mean, I think that's what this show is going to become and you're kind of the first, step in that direction because originally this was just comic book creators, but I have been thinking about just kind of expanding on that. And you're kind of the first guest that's
Well,
really,
I appreciate that.
someone a little different. We'll say, put it that way.
A
Yeah.
little more than a little
Yeah.
different.
But
Yeah.
no, I mean, yeah, no, I mean, so far what you've put out, I think, yeah, like I said, every episode is a little different. I mean, you go everywhere from like, reflecting on, your 10 years of sobriety to really great episode on, music, and then you've got the interview with Sean, Japan book hunter.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
awesome. The awesome Ed Piskor tribute. I did want to but you're thinking more like interviews or more just, I guess you're gonna kind of have both, just more of like a journal type of thing, like you did with, say, the sobriety or the Piskor thing.
Yeah. So right now I'm doing an original episode, then taking one of the
Mhm.
interviews from the YouTube channel and putting it into to give myself a buffer.
Yeah.
But I have two or three two interviews lined up that are not comic people that will not be on West Coast Davengers. They're musicians.
Yeah.
Because I want to talk to a bunch of my friends who are touring musicians, but also own their own businesses, because it's
Mhm.
like there's so many things that I can engage with on those two levels. And then obviously
Yeah.
they're friends of mine. So it's three levels. It's like, talk about like things that friends would talk about musician, recording, touring, etc., and then talk about owning your own business as an independent musician. And yeah, and then I don't know, like one of my, I do this weird thing, and I don't know if you do it. I don't know if anybody that does interviews does this, but if I am going into an interview with somebody, I will actually have that entire conversation in my head days before it happens. And then sometimes I'll think about somebody I want to interview,
Mhm.
and for an hour, it will just go back and forth in my head at like how the conversation I imagine it will go, which is not how it ever does. But the other day I was listening to Nine Inch Nails, and I'm like, and I just imagined this whole interview I had with Trent Reznor. So, lofty goal, but
Right.
maybe one day
Yeah.
it'll happen. Eddie
Yeah, you
Vedder,
never know. Never say never. Yeah.
one that will actively try
Mhm.
to get towards this year is Neil Druckmann. I don't know if you know
Okay.
who that is.
His name is familiar.
He's the creator of Last of Us, the video games, and then
Oh, yes.
the
Of
co-creator
course.
of the show.
Yeah.
So he's just somebody like he's first of all, and I'm not a huge gamer, but those
Mhm.
two games are the two greatest games I've ever played. I love the show. He's a huge comic book nerd, and
Mhm.
he's a huge Pearl Jam fan. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a 2-hour conversation.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I hope you're able to land that. I did just want to point out this great
The news comment is
idea from
amazing.
Manu.
Yeah.
Whoever of us interviews Elmore, first call it "Tell Me More." That's done. I'm doing it. All right. Yeah. Yeah. You're one of those Pearl Jam freaks, right?
Yeah.
You're huge.
Oh yeah.
No,
Oh, yeah.
I love Pearl Jam. I mean, I grew up. But Pearl Jam fans are on another level. They're like the new. I don't want to compare them to Filthy Deadheads, but they're similar in the sense that they've got fans
Travel.
following them around, touring with them, right? I
Yes.
have a member of my family that same, like he's been to I don't know how many concerts, and he's got a whole room in his house dedicated to Pearl Jam. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
we're a special bunch. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I've seen them, I think 41 times. I
Mhm.
started seeing them though when I was young. Like I saw them the first time I saw them was the week Kurt Cobain killed himself. And so I was young. I was like 13 or 14, and
Mhm.
and they made such an impact on me at such a young age. So, that's what you hope, right? You hope to have an experience like that with a band or whatever, that like it hits you at a young age and it
Mhm.
never leaves you.
Yeah, for me, it was Nirvana. I mean, I liked Pearl Jam, but they didn't affect me the way that Nirvana did. That was my number one band. Like,
Yeah.
I would say they were my favorite band for years and years. Even to this day, they will always be one of my favorite bands. I don't think that will ever change.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I never got to see them live. I had an
Neither
opportunity.
did
My
I.
my parents ripped it from my hands. So, thanks, mom and
Oh
dad.
shit. Yeah, that's wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dr. Von Hoot's not wrong. I mean, look, there is no
Yeah.
such thing as a cheap concert ticket anymore. Like
No.
they
Yeah.
they kept their ticket prices down for as long as they possibly could.
Mm-hmm.
And I will go to bat for them because they fought Ticketmaster back in the 90s and everybody
Yeah.
said, we're not gonna support you. So they tried. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, ticket prices, man, have gone like, for example, I was gonna go see Mars Volta last year whenever their newest album came out. And I don't think ever paid more than like 35 to see them up until they broke up.
Mm-hmm.
And tickets were $70 on this last tour. I'm like, no, I'm not going. Just not.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I mean, I used to go to concerts a lot when I was younger, but it was primarily, punk rock shows and metal shows.
Mhm.
They're cheap. They're like $10, maybe $15. And
Yeah.
some bigger concerts, sure, Nine Inch Nails, Radiohead, stuff like that. Um, but now, like, um, now it's just there's so that's how you know you're getting old because there's
Mhm.
so it's got to be a band I really really want to
Yeah.
see for me to get out to go to it. But
Same.
you know what, every time it's always worth it. And yeah, did go to some really good concerts last year. But I think I mean you are similar, I think, in that like we like having a wide variety of tastes in music. We both grew up, with liking hip hop and punk rock,
Mhm.
all very important to me. And that, growing up, especially discovering punk at a young age, like you, that instilled that certain values that some I definitely still hold, but like the whole DIY idea of just, kind of making your own way.
Mhm. Yeah.
And that's integral to I mean, you see that so much in comics, what real like, people who um people like Ed and Jim who knew that like who are like, you know what, I'm gonna do this no matter what it takes.
Yeah.
And there's how, I can't even imagine how many people out there right now, artists, comic book artists, cartoonists, people just doing it because um you have a drive to do it. You don't even necessarily know why. You just do it. And if you have um and if I guess if you kind of it's probably easier with having something like that instill in you the idea of just kind of doing it yourself. um I think it makes it easier because otherwise you're just thinking, well, oh man, how am I gonna ever get this comic book published? And just is Marvel gonna do this for me? It's like, no, that's probably never gonna happen. You
Yeah,
just
it's a one in a million shot that they'll do anything for you.
yeah, yeah. And but that's why things like, you know, when I kind of discovered this whole comic book community that kind of exists essentially online, which I never really knew about. And
Mm.
when I got back into collecting, like I've always been into comic books, but I wasn't really collecting until a few years ago when I got back into it. And that's when I discovered like, hey, there's other people doing this,
Yeah.
and they want to connect with each other. Um And yeah, that was kind of the biggest surprise, and really just the best part of all of it. It's been
I
making
didn't
these
know
connections.
I didn't know it existed either. I mean, it's
Mhm.
funny, the other maybe like a couple months ago, I was like laying in bed and I went through my personal Instagram account and I scrolled all the way to like 2012 or 2013 when I first joined it, and I had moved to or 2010. I moved to Queens from Long Island,
Mhm.
and my pull list was at Midtown Comics in New York City because I worked not too far. And I used to post like my haul, like a Wednesday haul, like all this stuff, and nobody gave a shit. Nobody, like none of my friends gave a shit about comics,
Mhm.
and I just wasn't tapped into anybody on Instagram that was into comics. And it's funny, you forget like some of the things that you read, but there's a picture of like all my comics laid out, and there's a Saga #1, like I just bought it when it came out, and Sex Criminals #1, and like I wish I had that. It took another 8 years to find my people online.
Mhm.
So I'm with you on that. Like I just didn't know. And now we've got all these people that we know that we can talk to about books and talk to about movies and whatever it is like and I only want to involve myself with people that are positive or into, it's at the all read interview is great. We go into it, but I just, a guy like Derek in the chat, or Manu, two people I know pretty well. Obviously, I know Manu a lot more, but like people that are positive about this stuff that like aren't sitting there just shitting on everything and
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Like, despite the fact that I mean, every scene, every community has its bad actors and people who really just are, for whatever reason, they can't help themselves but look for the negative things in a situation and then just perpetrate that,
yeah.
uh, in perpetuum. So, yeah, and I just like that's what, do whatever you want. I'm all for as much individual freedom as possible. I'm all for freedom of speech. So
Sure.
if you want to do that, do your thing, but I'm not interested in
Yeah.
whatsoever. And despite all that, I found in general that this community uh, is full of so many positive people, and more so, and incredibly supportive. And
Mhm.
that's where I was trying to get to with the whole idea of it's people. It makes it easier for someone like me to be able to do something, but on my own and be independent, because there's like a community of people who will potentially support that endeavor, right?
For
If I
sure.
want to make a comic book, hey, I found people that might actually buy that comic book,
How
which
about I want
otherwise I might just have to be out on the street corner, waving it around. Whereas like now it's like, no, there's awesome people. I found these amazing people that will literally, like, I could do a Kickstarter and I know like a bunch of people that will be shouting it out tomorrow, right? So like,
yeah.
yeah, it's amazing.
I mean,
Um,
nobody judges me for having a love for Jar Jar and doing goofy shit. Like, even if you do judge me, I
yeah,
don't lose any sleep over it. But
no,
Jar Jar is a key to all this.
there he is. Yeah, he's just
yeah, he's,
Misa gonna ruin your day.
Jar Jar's my boy. So what's going on,
but
Kevin?
it's like
Yeah.
nice to have this great support from people, and like
Mhm.
sometimes forget that people are actually doing this because they're enjoying it, like watching one of us or both of us because they enjoy just being part of this conversation. And like
Mhm.
it's we didn't have like, and I also forget, like 20 years ago we didn't have this, 30 years ago we didn't have this. It was like
No,
it was just not there. There was
yeah,
nothing like this. You go to a comic convention, you wouldn't talk to everybody. You would hide in your hood and just look through comics and try not to vomit from smelling the body odor and stuff. But it's nice to know that like there's support there. I'm not a comic creator. Like it's so weird. Like I don't feel like a sham. Sometimes I just feel like insecure. Like, should I be trying to make a comic? Because I love the medium so much and I love telling stories, but I know where my place is in this world. My place is to be the megaphone. My place is to be the person that gathers and like says, here, let's look at this. Let's talk about this. Like that's always been my place. Like I don't want to say community leader, but just somebody that gathers, shares, and then like a megaphone, like speaks for what we're all thinking or whatever it is, but or tell stories with my voice. But have my art looks like a serial killer, and you know, the last time I wrote a story was in high school.
Yeah. Well, dude, I mean, that's even if you know, if you think that's as you say, you know, your place. I think that's a very important place. We need people like that. You know. I also think if your art looks like a serial killer, you 100% can make comic books. There's no prerequisite that says you can't have serial killer art. I own comic books.
Here's a piece I did. I think I will usually typically only draw if I'm like having an edible or something like that, but it's the involuntary Human Torch.
I love that so much. It's so good.
Yeah.
Manu says you need to bring Turok into the now.
He's right here. He's everywhere. He's where we all need to be.
He surrounds us. Doc says, true story. My daughter has been writing a novel. The reality is because of this community, she could potentially have some other kid read her book. That's actually realistic, which was mine. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. I was gonna go somewhere else with that. I've lost
serial
my train
killer
of thought
art
now. Yeah. But yeah, no, just in general, this community's been amazing despite some, you know, there's people who are intent on kind of you don't even want to talk about these people that are like the comic book industry is absolute a trash bag. It's absolute shit. And it's like, okay, if you want to believe that, go ahead, but I'm not interested. I'm just gonna talk with people who are all about this. And we got Frog Brawler as well. Good to see you, man. Oh, dude, I wanted to get back to one thing about the music. Your episode on music of Direct Edition. Really enjoyed it, and yeah, I think we have a lot of there's a lot of similar music we like. But there was one thing you mentioned that I just can't. I can't.
Did I mention 311? I can't remember.
Oh no, but no, I can't that either. But Dave Matthews Band, which is
he wakes up in the morning.
No, that I'm sorry, I'll die on that.
Like I haven't listened to Matthews in years, but
yeah,
I was skeptical. Like I was being honest. In high school, I fucking hated that band, and I hated everybody associated. But when you go see him at Madison Square Garden, it's just there's just something about it, and it took me, and so that's what happened. It was like a drug. Whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I've heard people say that before about them, like seeing them live. It's like a gateway drug into their music, but still, my favorite thing.
I don't care. You can mock Dave Matthews. I do not mind.
I don't know. I would never mock him because he did one great thing, which was dump a ton of human shit off a bridge to find people of Chicago. that was amazing. And I can't say I'm a fan of 311 either. Investigate 311.
I saw them when I was in high school for the first time, and it was another gateway drug. But
right. Teach their own.
Exactly.
The one thing I don't care for is like any sort of snobbery or I could be guilty of that sometimes, I suppose. I think a lot of people can be, but
it's only human to feel that way.
I never want to make someone feel bad for liking something unless it's like, Dave Matthews Band or something like that. No.
But I mean, like, the other thing is like we're entitled to feel and have those feelings whenever we want. It just, it's like as you get older, you just don't beat people into the ground with them. You can be a snob, like Manu. He's the high grade snob, but you don't you just don't beat somebody else down with it. But it's also
Yeah,
fun,
most people
you know?
grow out of it. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
Yeah, most people grow out of it. Like, right. For a while I hated I couldn't listen to Radiohead. Like OK
Mhm.
Computer, for some reason, when I was a kid, turned me off to them. And I don't know why. I think it's just the way that I grew into an angry kid that listened to a lot of angry music, and
Mhm.
I didn't vibe with Radiohead for a period of like 7 years, and then all of a sudden they became one of my favorite bands again.
Yeah, fair enough.
So,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, like I used to feel bad. Like that's one thing about, I think this transcends through comics, movies, music, the arts in general.
Mhm.
I think we all go through a period where we feel bad that we don't like something, or we feel bad because we like something and nobody else does. And you feel like you can't vocalize it, like you're embarrassed. Like, I'm no longer embarrassed. This is why
Yeah.
I love Jar Jar. I don't give a shit. I'll tell
Yep.
people I could recite every single lyric of Limp Bizkit's Significant Other
Mhm.
without a prompt.
Yep.
And not ashamed of it. Like I love
Nor
the music,
nor should you
know?
be. Yeah.
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 Like I came into this world as a reject. Look into these eyes, and then you'll see the size of the flames burning on. But like I could just, but yeah, like and there are certain things that you just don't be ashamed to love what you love. And if anybody makes you feel like shit because of it,
Mhm.
spit in their eye and stab them with a pencil. That's all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're talking to a bunch of comic book nerds here. Most of us are not ashamed
Yeah,
of
that is true.
flaunting what we like. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's good. There's absolutely no reason to be.
No. Do you like pie?
Pie. Oh, yeah. What kind of pie is that?
Marionberry?
Marionberry.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what that is.
Mm-hmm. I just wanted to eat pie on your channel.
Well, enjoy. I don't have I do have sitting behind me some cake that was baked earlier today, but I can't eat that.
I almost bought a piece of cake to eat
Mm,
live on actual Dracula, but I went with pie.
excellent. I do like pie. Can't say I've ever had Marionberry pie. It's the first appearance of Marionberry pie on my channel, guys.
Get it graded.
Yeah. It's a 9.9 right there. Yeah.
And tongs.
Yeah. Of course, actually, man who's here. There was another kind of another, I guess, big thing for your channel was you and Manu breaking this. What would you call it? The Reholder scandal, or you
the
called it the
Caesar
Mark
scandal.
Jewelers heist, right? Yeah.
Slabgate. Yeah,
Slapgate. Yeah.
that was nuts. Like, I've never experienced anything like that in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Anything. He found these two books or these photos, and he's like, I helped him double check them, and he's like, I don't know what to do with this, and he's like, I'm gonna make a post. The post blows up. We're on the phone. I'm like, we have to go live with this. Like, this has to be broadcast to everybody. And it blew up so quick and got so much, like, within the comic community, so much pushback, and then also people being like, holy shit. And then I reached out to Matt Nelson to get the interview, and then it spiraled from there. It went even bigger. It was, it definitely did not help my mental health. I'll tell you that.
Right.
A couple of months were kind of fucked up. Like,
Yeah.
I think Manu's a little bit more stable on that end.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think so too.
Yeah. But having people tell you, oh, you should get a room with Matt Nelson, oh, this, that, and the other thing, I'm just like,
Jesus.
yeah. And I'm like, what fucking planet do you come from that you think idiot that sells comic books is a journalist? I'm asking this dude the questions I'm asking because I was naturally curious. He also runs a hundreds of $1,000,000 company. He's the president of it. Like, he's gonna tell us about an active investigation. If it was the only time where I wish that I could have gone on TV and just been like, "You're all a bunch of fucking idiots. Shut the fuck up." Like, the New Yorker in me was like dying to come out. Was like, I was just wanted to grab the microphone and just be like, "You motherfuckers, why don't you do something yourself instead of commenting on this video, you mouth breathing schmuck?" But I did.
Yeah. How about or stop giving CGC your money, which you're not gonna do.
There's
Yeah.
that too. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a weird couple of months, but in that was the McFarlane interview, so that was like, that kind of helped me.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is why I don't comment.
I hope we got you some more subscribers though, at least.
Oh, it totally did. It totally.
That's good.
But
Yeah.
I'm not like, I don't care about comic news. Like, it's all bullshit. Like, I want to talk to comic creators. That's it.
Yeah. Same here. That's something I've never done. I've never focused on my channel as any sort of comic book news. If there's something, like I'll if I'm doing like a hangout show from on other people's channels and stuff, we'll talk about it. But, it's something I've never really focused on. I honestly don't pay that much attention to what's going on. I'll obviously I hear stuff, because I watch a lot of different people's channels, but I don't get into. I got too much other shit on my mind to be worried about it. Yeah.
It's a weird thing. Like, there are, and I'm not gonna single anybody out at all, but there are a lot of people that are doing this just because, like, it's the only thing that they can do to feel like they're adding comic content is to look on a website and be like, all right, I'm going to talk about this. Like, so is 100 other people.
Yeah, there's lots, and there's some channels who are legitimately quite good at it. I would say Mickey Swaggle House.
Swag's great.
Is very consistent and very good. Yeah. But yeah, he's one of the few channels like that I would say I will give my time to. Yeah. So, before I forget, speaking of, I guess, not necessarily controversy, but looking for content and maybe a bit of controversy, because we were talking about our White Whale interviews. If you could have anyone, let's say, not necessarily a comic book creator, anyone living or dead, for an interview, who would you do? Who would you talk to?
Anyone? I'll pick one of each.
Okay.
Living. I mean, outside of comics, it would probably be Eddie Vedder.
Right. Good answer. Yeah.
And then dead. Probably Jack Kirby, Inside Comics, because I mean, like, I the bunch of interviews that I've heard of, older interviews, I could listen to that man talk. Like, he's a New Yorker. He's like, he's got a little bit of that attitude, but he was just a fun guy to listen to talk. And then outside of comics, dead, probably Kurt. Yeah.
I can see that. Let's see. Living. Oh man, that's a great question that I just thought of. I haven't thought of an answer. Let's say. I don't know. I don't know about living. There's honestly, are there that many interesting people out there? I don't really know. I'll just have you back on. How about that?
All right. I'm in. You can have me back on when I'm dead too. I just brought my body up, couple of electrodes. Just be like
I
that.
would, yeah, I would love to have Todd McFarlane on. God, maybe like Kim Jong Un. I don't know, someone like that. Now, dead. If I could have anyone, and this is going to be controversial, I'm going to say Adolf Hitler. And I know why you might
I
not.
wonder why that
You
might be
might think it'd be controversial.
controversial.
Yes, but think of the view counts. Think of how many views that is going to get.
You would have
There's
you
going
would
to be
become
a,
like the first 2.7 billion subscriber channel. And then
if I couldn't get him, Charles Manson, for the same reason.
all right.
The views would be through the roof.
I would just if I was ever to interview somebody like that, I would have just been like, by the way, every time he answers a question, I'm Jewish.
Yeah.
I'm Jewish. Yeah, I would just keep saying that over and over and over. Just madder and madder and madder. And then as soon as he was about to say something, I'd fucking kick him right out of the room.
I wouldn't bring that up at all. I'd just be like, so what do you think of the latest CGC scandal? What do you thoughts on that?
Wait, why wouldn't you want to interview Bram Stoker?
I would talk to Hitler about comic books, basically.
I want to interview Ahmed Best. Let's be serious there, okay?
Oh yeah. That'd be great.
Would you want to? Yeah, I'd want to interview.
Actually, I thought as someone living, it would be incredible to talk to is Francis Ford Coppola. I mean, he's directed some of the greatest films of all time, and although I'm really curious to see his new film. Have you heard about Megalopolis, which is struggling to find any distribution?
Yeah, he wants $100 million for distribution.
So I don't know. I don't know what to think of that, but
I don't blame Hollywood. He hasn't made a movie in 2 decades.
No, I mean this is his biggest film since Dracula. So he's made some smaller films, but nothing like this. Nothing since Dracula, which was a huge success. But
I mean, it spawned you. It spawned you.
It's but I mean, Godfather, Apocalypse Now. I mean, there's so much that I think it'd be a good get. I'll see if I can get him on here. I'm sure he's not too busy.
I actually have a line. I don't want to say who it is because it's not set in stone. I have to double back. I do have a line to my first interview with somebody that is a director.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's also a comic creator, so not going to be the easiest thing to figure out, but also not that hard. But I reached out to him last year, and he said to hit him back up in the summer or spring. Yeah, I'd love to get into that. Like, it's interesting to think about. Like, I don't know enough about like press for Hollywood stuff and for TV stuff. Got a taste of that with the Daniel Warren Johnson interview because literally he was on like a press run that day.
Yeah.
But I don't know like how many followers or subscribers you need to have somebody, let's say like I don't know, let's say Aman, I forget her last name, that plays Kamala Khan, Aman Valeni.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know how you get to that where like you like, oh, I'd love to have you on my channel and talk about, Miss Marvel and then also comics because I know she's a big comic fan too.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because typically if they're doing like press junkets for a film, it's like you got to go where they are and do it, right? But,
well, not anymore. Not anymore.
No, right. That's true. Yeah, that's true. It's not necessarily like that anymore.
Oh, thanks,
we
Legion.
got Mark Legion, likes the Turok display. How can you not? Really?
Yeah. All Turok all the time. I'd love to have Bart Sears on. It's just the thing is, every time I try to read a Turok book, I'm like, I can't fucking read this, but I can look at it.
Did you ever play the game? I think it was for
the N64 game was classic.
Classic. It was
nothing. I don't care. Like, I'm not here to shit on shooters, but N64 nothing will ever top their shooter games. GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, and then I guess you could consider Taraka. It was a first person.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. So you can throw all the you can throw all the Call of Duties you want at me, and I'm still gonna be like, yeah, it's not as good as those.
What's going on? Hello, Sean.
Oh,
There are 4. There's 4 Turok games? Is that what you're
there was
telling
4
us?
Turok games, or do you
I
mean
don't know.
4 controllers?
I don't know.
Hey, I'm not a spirit. I'm just
Yeah.
an animal.
Yeah.
Um,
Mark is the proud owner of the 1 of 1 edition of the actual Dracula Turok acetate edition. I don't know if you ever saw that, but
I've never seen it. Did
yeah.
you know that I've signed more copies of Turok #1 than probably everybody except maybe Bart Sears?
Oh,
I
wow.
send them to people as gifts.
How many copies would you say you own, or never not own? Let's say if you still owned all the ones you've given away.
Oh, easily 100, if not more.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think one sale, I think everybody got one. It was like 35 that I sent out with their orders. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be great to that's one of those books, I think, just to have one long box of full of just that one book. There's a couple books like that for me, like it started with Moon Knight 29 because it's one of my favorite Sienkiewicz covers. It's the negative space, the
Yep.
wolf head.
Yeah, with Werewolf by Night.
I used to get that whenever I found it. That's one I wouldn't care if I had a box full. I would love to have a box full of
it's
that book. I love it
classic.
so much.
Yeah.
Is there a book like that for you other than Turok, of course?
I mean, when it comes to Todd books, even if
Mhm.
I'm not selling them, I buy them. Like I have had at one time, I think I had like 6 copies of Batman 423.
Mhm.
Spider-Man 1, I have one of I have them all over the place. But I don't know if there's like a single book that I just buy every time I see it, because it would be like something like I can't buy an ASM 316 every time I see it, or an
Yeah.
ASM 300. You know what? I can't remember what number it is, but it's Perceptions, where he goes up to Spidey goes up to Canada, and it's the Spider-Man Wolverine team up. I think it's the second to last part of that. I used to buy that every single time I saw it. It's like Spidey's going this way and Wolverine's going this way, and they're both on the cover together. Yeah.
It's like Spider-Man like issue 7 or something, or
No, I think
no,
it's
later.
Like 12 or 13.
It's like yeah.
Yeah, and Derek knows The Life of Pope John Paul II, the Marvel comic.
I've got one of those, yeah.
I had at least 6 of them in the last couple of months.
Doc says, I highly recommend the documentary First Person Shooter. The GoldenEye section is fascinating. Full
It's
disclosure,
interesting.
friends
I've
with the
never heard of that
director.
before.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, neither have I.
hey.
Legion is the proud owner of
Oh,
6
6.
N64.
So hold on. He owns 6 Nintendo 64s. So he actually owns a Nintendo 384. Huh?
Yeah, if the math is correct.
I think the math might be correct.
Yeah.
I check my math, but hey Siri, what is 64 times 6?
64 times 6 is 384.
What do you know? This fucking thing still works.
There you go. Nice. All right, where were we? Where are we going? I don't know. We've I've got kind of I got kind of one, maybe wrap up shortly. We've been going a little over an hour, almost an hour and a half, but there's something coming up next weekend. We got to talk about Davenger Con. So tell us, what is this? What the hell is Davenger Con?
So last year I had this brilliant idea that I was going to do a 2-day Comic Con on my channel, full of like let's have sellers and panels. And so I had like 10 or 8 different sellers on. Jim Rugg was on, and then Joe Benitez was on. And this year, I wanted to go bigger and, and just kind of tighten it in. So it's a 2-day streaming event on my channel. There's going to be 4 people selling throughout the weekend. Me, obviously. Manu will be there Saturday and Sunday. That's right. Maddie from Maddie's Comics, Comics, he'll be there on Saturday, 420. And then Japan Book Hunter will be on Sunday, 421,
Nice.
and so on. And then I'm doing, so it's based around supporting 2 charities. So I have a raffle that I do for the weekend. There's gonna be like 15, 20 prizes. And then, so I support 2 charities. One is called the Laidler Music Money Foundation. My friend Bryce does a music scholarship for one kid at his daughter's high school, going into a career of music. And then the other one's called Tiny Changes, and it is a mental health charity in Scotland, founded after my friend Scott's memory. So we support those 2, and I'm doing a cool little thing on Saturday that is going to be a live drawing. So it's going to be this guy right here, actual Dracula, along with Vlad and Ivory Bunny, Rob McCallum, and Jeremy Heiler. Y'all are going to be either doing Star Wars or TMNT, and those are going to be prizes in the raffle. So unfortunately, I had some guests and they had to cancel. Full disclosure, it was Jim Rugg and Jim Mahfood. Ed's memorial's on Saturday, so
Yeah.
Anybody involved in that, that's what they should be doing, not hanging around with a bunch of idiots on the internet. But Derek Kirk Kim's going to be there on Saturday, and I'm working on another guest for Sunday.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm trying to give it like the con feel, like you can buy books, you can sit and hang out and listen to me talk to creators. I have I'm going to be doing a trivia hour on Sunday. 50 questions.
Nice.
Giving out a prize. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wrote every single one of these questions myself.
Handwritten.
Handwritten.
How about that?
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a Comic-Con. It's a streaming event. It's a place to buy comics, possibly win some original art and some other great stuff. Help support the charity and just have fun. Like these days, we all know, right? Cons are expensive. Cons require travel. Cons also give you the chance to get a free virus of COVID or some other disgusting fucking thing.
If you're lucky.
You're lucky, yeah. So what I'm doing is I'm providing the opportunity for people to sit at home, click on, hang out, come back, leave, come back, get some stuff, and just hang out. So that's what it is. But you're going to be on there Saturday at 5:45 Eastern, 2:45 Pacific, live drawing, and we'll all hang out and talk. And I've allotted like 90 minutes to maybe like almost 2 hours. And I appreciate everybody that's taken part of this. This is a tremendous amount of work. I want to give a huge shout out to my buddy Joe Scar. He does all the design work, all the logos, all of the graphics. He is going to be here producing it, like helping me out. Yeah, and it's just me. I'll be live, losing my mind by Sunday night.
So how you're going to be streaming quite a bit then? Yeah,
12 hours a day, probably. Wow. I think I'm going to start at Saturday morning at 10 and Sunday morning at 10, and probably go till about 10 every night.
Yeah. Well, dude, it's awesome. I mean, I'm really looking forward to it. Both being, partaking in the art raffle, and also just watching. I'm definitely going to be tuning in for the trivia as well.
Yeah. I have to pick out prizes. Maybe I'll just do this. Like whoever wins gets a hoodie. Second place will get a T-shirt or whatever.
Will you get the one that you're wearing right now?
Maybe if they want to. I will have a full-on merch store though. Okay. All right. Premiering some new stickers, including this one, this Spider-Man sticker with a very familiar font.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
And then the Sankowitz.
Sankowitz. I knew you were going to pull up the Sankowitz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's just as I grow the channel, I want to do more things that people can be like, oh, Dave does this thing, like I can't wait for it. Like,
Hmm.
that's if I can think of it and pull it off, then I think a
Yeah,
lot of people will enjoy it.
I do really like the concept of it as like a- sort of an online con because yeah, like you said, they're expensive. Not everyone can make it to conventions,
Yeah.
Um, so
Like
yeah, it's
for example, if you live in Mississauga and there's no con anywhere near there,
mhm,
then or maybe you live in Brampton and there's nowhere in Brampton that there's a con, or Saint Germain, or
yeah,
uh I don't know. I'm just St. John, like you might live in St. John and there's no con nearby, or Halifax. Maybe there's no Comic Con in Halifax.
right. I'm not sure if there is. I mean, the big one here is Fan Expo Toronto. That's the
Yeah.
biggest. That's the biggest in the country. They got one in Calgary too, but other than that, I don't know if there's any other big cons in Canada really.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, Vancouver's got Fan Expo, but it's nowhere near as big as the Toronto one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
And
Toronto one
TCAF.
is Toronto has TCAF, which is fantastic, of course, because that's all independent creators and purely comics.
Yeah.
Um, but Fan Expo is good, but it's a zoo. It's a zoo. It's
Yeah.
just so many people. It's not like
It's not comics
uh
focused either.
no, I got to go to Heroes Con last year, and that was just incredible. That was the best.
I'm thinking
Uh,
about going this year.
yeah, dude, it's it's anyone who's gone can attest to just what an amazing con it is. And yeah, purely comics focused and the creators, of course. Um, and yeah, the highlight for me was getting to meet just all these people that I've met, through YouTube, through doing YouTube,
Yeah.
through Instagram, like friends who normally, they're, who knows if I would have ever got to have met them, you know.
Yeah.
I got to Heroes Con and it was like not just the people I knew I was going, but then there was people like, oh shit, I didn't know you were coming to this too. And I ended up knowing like 30 people that were there. It was crazy. It's like I don't
That's
know
all.
that many people that go to the cons here. So
Yeah. Yeah. I
honestly,
mean,
I don't know 30 people at Toronto Fan Expo. I don't. So it's yeah, that's amazing. Also got to meet Ed and Jim last year, so that was
mhm,
that was also great.
that's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, Heroes is the cat's meow. Yeah, Mark knows absolutely. Um,
By the way, Derek is right. I did major in minored in Turok. I didn't major in
yeah.
geography. I was just a big hockey fan growing up. And so
Okay.
like I know all the teams, Windsor Spitfires and the Regina Pats and the Brampton Battalion and the Kingston Frontenacs. Like I know
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, you definitely memorized all of those teams, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I might go to Heroes Con this year. Like the three choices are Heroes Con, save up the big money and go to Japan in November, or go to Thought Bubble in November.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those all sound like excellent choices. Japan, obviously, that'd be amazing. I mainly want to go to Japan for the food, first and
Yeah.
foremost, because the only thing I care about more than comics is food. Like food, I'm
Mm.
sorry, comics, but food is up
No,
here.
food's
I would
great.
spend
No,
all
it's
my
the
money on food.
Marionberry for you.
Yeah, there you go. I know for real, I would spend all my money on sushi and buy no comics, but
Have you ever been to Portland,
no,
Oregon?
but also the art supply stores in Japan. That's
Oh,
what I want to go
oh
to.
yeah.
I've never been to Portland. No.
I'm going to make a bold statement right now. And
Mhm.
this is from a New Yorker.
Yeah.
Portland's the best food city in the country.
I mean, that is a bold statement. Um, yeah. I mean, I can't argue with you because I've never been. So
Yeah.
you could
I
be right.
I gained I lived there for 9 months and gained 22 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
because I couldn't stop exploring the food scene
Yeah.
to that, just like it was crazy. But,
Yeah, I know they have a big one, right? I mean,
yeah.
Toronto too, lots of really great restaurants. But yeah, so yeah, that's a big thing for me is food and eating.
Yeah.
That's why my favorite place I've ever been is Italy, easily.
Mm.
Not just for the food, but the food's a big part of it. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Uh,
I would fuck that country up. I'd eat so much food.
dude. Yeah. I ate nonstop. I've never eaten more gelato in such a short period of time. It's incredible.
You
Yeah.
know, it's interesting. You should make a food comic. Why don't you make a food comic?
Dude, there. So I will tell you, I am writing my own comic right now. I am in the process of writing a comic that I will be making entirely, writing and drawing. And food absolutely plays a part of it.
Sweet.
Food, like I could not. It wouldn't be my story if it didn't involve food. So there's definitely food in there, 100%, and a
Awesome.
whole bunch of other fucked up stuff too.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I'm in. Let's get this man a
it's
Kickstarter.
definitely not safe for work. So don't bring it to work because it's not safe there. Yeah.
Or bring it to work
whenever it happens.
Bring it to work.
Yeah.
Get fired. File a class action lawsuit and own the company you work for because they fired you for the comic.
I like the sound of this. Please get it, bring it to work, and get fired. Dracula and food. Like
Chew is like one of the most underappreciated comics in the last 20 years.
I still need to read that because I've heard nothing but good things about Chew. Yeah, it's on my never-ending to-read list. It only gets bigger. It never gets smaller, no matter how many books I read.
That's what she said.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. But yeah, food. Yeah. So that's kind of a long-term project. This you guys will because this is really the first time I'm talking about it on my channel, but because I'm really just in the early writing stages right now. But as I get to the point where I'm starting to actually draw the thing, that stuff I'm going to be putting out on my channel, like actual process of
sweet.
the making. Yeah. But I won't give away too many of my I'm going to keep a lot of the food stuff for like the big reveal. So keep everyone hungry,
I'm excited.
Show you a little bit.
I'm excited to see your take on what if Superman was a hot dog.
How did you know? God damn it, you blew just the whole thing. How did you know?
And because you're Canadian, Lex Luthor is just poutine.
Yes. Oh man.
Oh man. Indeed.
Yeah.
But yes, next weekend I'm excited for Davenger Con. Big time. I'm a little stressed out right now about it, but it'll pass.
It'll be fine. You'll do just fine. No, I think
I put a lot of pressure on myself for stuff like this though.
Oh, dude, I do the same thing too. Like with even with my stupid casual Dracula shows, like I stress out about them so much. But it's so dumb. I don't know why I do. It's
I don't know. It's like human nature to want to bring something good to people and not waste their time. Like I
don't mind wasting people's time. I do it all the time on this channel.
Well, I mean, like in a bad way though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I think when you waste people's time on this channel, people are enjoying it, so it's not a waste of time. So yeah,
I hope
guess,
so. Otherwise, why would they be watching? Like, I don't
yeah,
know.
true.
I guess
I don't know.
Doc's got nothing better to do. I don't know. I'm glad you don't. This is the place to be.
Yeah, yeah.
Italy is crazy beautiful, but the food is also great. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah, there's no bad place to go in Italy. Really,
Oh, I
it's all
bet.
the whole country's incredible. Yeah,
Yeah, I'd like to go. I was gonna go for fucking Lake Como this year.
oh, dude,
Yeah,
I want to go. I want to go there. Yeah, not
yeah,
that I could buy anything there, but
I
still.
know.
Well,
But like,
actually, you went to the OAX, right? That's like
yeah,
that's like
OAX was amazing.
Florida's Lake Como, right? Or their version of it, I suppose, right?
Definitely in terms of the actual convention, yes.
Yeah,
But Florida is
not the
Italy.
surroundings.
Yeah, if Italy ate Taco Bell for 10 years and then just turned into a pile of diarrhea, then that's how
Yeah.
you could compare Italy to Orlando. But it was no, it was amazing. OAX was fantastic. Like, I originally was gonna not go, and then I was like, all right, I'll go because my parents live in Florida, so it's it's like a visit them too.
Mhm.
But it was like an old school comic convention that it was all original art, but it was
Yeah.
you could like have conversations with people. Like, I sat and talked to Mahfood for like a half hour. I talked to I was just standing around talking to Mike Allred for like 20 minutes with Laura because it wasn't super packed. It wasn't noisy, so you didn't have to raise your voice. So it's like, normally when you go to a comic convention for a day that's a decent size, you're running around, you're waiting online, you're like, you feel like shit because you're talking at a higher voice level. This was the opposite. Like, finished the convention, went up to my room, put my stuff away, got food, and then went to sleep and did it again the next day. And it was like, I mean, I spent more money than I probably should have, but it's just money. I don't give a shit. It's like at some point I have to realize, like, I am working for myself for a reason and making
Yeah.
money for myself for a reason. It's not because I'm worried about how much money I'm going to have in 90 years when the planet doesn't exist. It's because I want to be able to enjoy it.
You can't take it with you.
No,
right?
you can't. You can't take anything with you. So you
Yeah.
might as well buy a bunch of cool art, appreciate it, and then die.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh man, unless you live in the spiral dimension, maybe you can. The spiral dimension is on Greenwich Mean Time.
I don't, I was in the spiral dimension once. It was really weird. I didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's overrated, I think.
It is. It is. And the drugs you got to take to get there, it's usually not that good.
I'm just kidding. I'm actually a huge fan of the spiral dimension. If you're gonna visit anywhere in Italy, I recommend Matera. It's where they shot the opening of the last Bond film. Huh. I have not been there.
Ooh. Did it.
Yeah, it's full circle, taking it back to GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
And Mark's 6 N64s.
His
Why would anyone need to own 6 of the same console?
I don't know. Why does anybody need to own 35 issues of the same Turok #1?
Yeah, I mean, I guess
we all have to have our weird flexes in life.
That's true. Yeah.
I have something of Jar Jar in every room in this house.
Good.
So.
Rightly so, though. Yeah.
No Odd Job. That's right. You can't use Odd Job. He's cheap.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Goongas.
I wish you could play that at like 3/4 speed.
Oh, I should. I could. Yeah, I should make a. I should edit that clip and make it, or even half speed. Yeah. Goongas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I won't take up too much of your time, but wait, what's this? Doc has a Grease 2 autograph collection.
Not Grease, but Grease 2.
Grease 2.
What was the name of Grease 2? Was Grease 2 Electric Boogaloo?
Was it?
I don't know.
Yeah, dude, it's so weird you mentioned that because I swear to God, as I was falling asleep, I think it was last night or the night before, for some reason, that Electric Boogaloo got stuck in my head, and I was like, "What was that the subtitle to?" Because I
Was
couldn't
it,
remember, because it is the subtitle of a
yeah.
sequel, but I couldn't remember what movie
Was it
it was.
Staying Alive? Staying Alive? No, it was
No,
something.
it was something to Electric Boogaloo, and I
Boogaloo.
I couldn't remember it. Maybe it's I don't know. It's just Grease 2. It's not that. What's going
Yeah.
on, Chris, the comic vet? Good to see you. Breaking
Breaking
2.
2,
That's
Electric
it.
Boogaloo.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I should have known. I should have known.
hmm
It wasn't Jaws
And
2?
I have no idea why that came to my
Because it
head.
would have been pretty cool if it was Jaws 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
Because at the end, when Roy Scheider kills the shark, he's the
Yeah.
power line and it gets electrocuted.
Hell
So
yeah.
Greasier. Yeah, that's
Grease here. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't go with that
yeah.
title.
I mean, nothing makes me want. I'd rather watch Greasier than Grease.
Yeah. Oh, I got Biggie Shack here.
Probably Grease too. Geese
Yeah.
too. Geese. Let me ask you something as a Canadian. Let's turn the tables a little bit. Can you
Okay.
fucking take these geese back, please?
We try every year, but they just I don't know. I guess
Like I
they
don't
like
mind
the
ducks, but the Canadian geese, they're always like, like you look
well,
at it, it's like,
no, they do, they do the smart thing, which is when it starts to get cold, they make their way down to Florida, the Italy of the
the
US,
Italy of the
right?
US. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They should just go to like Jamaica or somewhere that's better.
Yeah, I mean, they could just keep going south, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they go to
Why not?
Argentina, they can go to
Yeah.
Colombia, they can get high on their own supply. They could
Mhm.
smuggle drugs from Colombia to Canada, like all of these ideas. Yeah, fly away.
Yeah, it's no, geese will fuck you up,
They are. Yeah, they
Yeah.
will. They will. Derek, fly away home style. Will I win an Academy Award? That's the question. Will I win an Academy Award like Anna Paquin did?
I'm sorry, Dave, but you're no Anna Paquin.
You'd be surprised. You'd be
Okay, yeah,
surprised.
you could you might have a few tricks up your sleeve. All right.
Yeah, I do. I do. By the way, did you see that new X-Men animated series episode?
I watched it today, actually, yes.
Oh my god.
You know, I already knew it was gonna happen because
Sure.
spoilers were dropped 5 minutes after the episode came out,
Yeah.
which I brought this up in a chat the other day. I learned to stop caring about spoilers a long time ago. I just like A, they're inevitable, and B, it's just like I don't really care. It doesn't matter.
I'm not a fan.
There's very few instances where a spoiler would really like upset me, or what I don't like having ruined, because things I kind of actually like that are kind of cool are like when there's like a total surprise cameo of someone in a movie. It's like I don't want that spoiled. I want
No.
the genuine shock or surprise of that. Like if you saw the end of The Flash, it was like that was one thing I'm glad it wasn't spoiled because it was such a small thing, but it was like I liked that. I liked that happened,
Yeah.
Uh
I don't like spoilers at all, especially the cameo thing. Like I had Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness ruined for me a month
okay.
before it came out. A full month
Uh
before it came out. Dead on. Like
I had that movie ruined for me when I watched it.
I like that movie. I love
Yeah,
Sam
no,
Raimi.
it considering a lot of the other movies they made recently, that was one of the better ones for sure.
Yeah, Manu, we didn't even talk about the spoiler. We didn't give any details. I just
No,
said,
I'm not going to. No.
yeah, no, but it was a
But yeah,
phenomenal.
it was episode 4, that was just like a fun Mojo verse
Yeah,
episode, and then this was just like holy shit.
yeah. I
Really
watched it.
really
I
great.
watched it again today, and it
Mhm.
still had the same effect. But no, I'm not. I won't talk spoilers. Like
Yeah.
if I just and there's this thing where it's just like if you're gonna talk spoilers, like your show should be called Spoiler. like, don't ruin stuff for
Yeah.
people. Like,
Well, Legion, his, he does, spoiler alert, Legion likes to spoil shit. But on his Sunday shows, he makes it known that, yeah, we're going to be talking spoilers. Don't watch the show if you don't want to find out what's going to happen.
yeah,
But yeah, if to do it without warning, it's Instagram's the worst for that, because
yeah.
you're just scrolling and it's just like
And
literally,
then there it is.
yeah.
I
Um,
I remember back when I was still like on Facebook only, and Game of Thrones, the Red Wedding episode had come out,
mhm.
and I was like doing something, and I got home and I was getting ready to watch it. And I went on Facebook, and like 3 of my friends said something about a red wedding. And like that's all I needed to know. I never read the books, but I'm also not a fucking idiot. And I know
Yeah.
what that means. Like I know what that connotation means. Those
Yes.
people from that day on were no longer my actual friends.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I got no fucking place for that in my life. Like,
Mhm.
you want to connect to somebody about a TV show that ended 30 minutes ago? Fucking call them. Don't post it on Facebook.
That's my issue too. It's like, give it 48 hours at least.
Yeah,
Like you
yeah.
can't give it a couple of days. Like,
Yeah.
not everyone can watch this right now.
Right.
Imagine how sick the Deadpool 3 trailer would have been if we hadn't already seen leaked pics of Wolverine in the yellow suit. True. Imagine you didn't imagine not even knowing he was going to be in the movie, and it
was just Deadpool 3.
that would have been so amazing.
Yeah.
The day I saw Logan at the theater, I saw a meme that said "Roses are red, violets are blue."
Jesus.
Wolverine dies at the end of Logan. P.S.
Yes,
Xavier.
baby.
That is a pretty great rhyme, though. I like.
That's a
that.
great. At least that's like a
Yeah.
classy spoiler.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah,
Like
let's see what happens.
you can tell somebody how much you like something and how good it was without being like so and so, does this and does that. Like,
Yeah,
I didn't need to know that, there was a scene in the X-Men episode where Gambit fucks Magneto in the ass with a strap on, and it was like all this, like I didn't
Yeah.
need to know that. I didn't.
it was. At least it was tastefully done, though.
Yeah, there
That-
was cherries and grapes and seducing, but no, I remember walking out of the movie. You remember Contact with Jodie Foster and
Of
Matthew
course,
McConaughey?
they should have sent a poet.
Yeah, me and my buddies walked out of that movie because we went to like one of the first shows that whatever that day was, and there was like this was back when people still went to the movies in mass, and people were lined up to see the next show. And me and my friend just looked at each other. I can't believe the aliens fucking killed her. And we just and so many people were just, what the fuck?
Oh man, that's
Fake
awesome.
spoilers. Now that's a good thing. Like
I like that. Yeah.
because that's a way to like get people thinking that something's gonna happen, and then they're instantly happy that they were lied to.
Not necessarily. What if they're anticipating seeing her get killed by aliens and like, what the fuck? So it might have had the opposite effect. But
Yeah, it's true. They wouldn't be all right, all right, all right.
yeah. Oh
Man, this is fun. I could talk to you forever. Like seriously.
Yeah. Well,
We're getting married tomorrow.
yeah, I got a thing tomorrow to take a rain check.
We're getting married on Sunday.
I got well, we'll see what happens. Let me run it by my wife and see how
Wait.
she feels about
Is today Saturday?
it. It is Saturday.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. I literally thought that it was Friday.
No, it is Saturday. Yeah. Shit, it's a good thing I told you.
I'm losing days, man. I'm losing days.
Yeah, aren't we all?
It's true. It's true.
You still ruined 2 hours for
Hours
them.
for them. That movie was close to 3 hours, actually.
Contact. Yeah, it was kind of a long movie.
Yeah, it was.
What's
the act.
going on? Real Rude. Good to see you. Yeah. Well, even if we don't get married this weekend, possible next weekend.
Yeah,
Davinder
yeah.
Khan.
I got
Yeah.
my passport. We can
Yeah.
make this happen. Yeah, I want dual
Awesome.
citizenship. That's all I'm looking for.
Let's see if we can work something out. Yeah, I haven't seen that in a long time. I should
It was a
I should
classic.
watch that.
Yeah. Yeah, Matthew McConaughey. All right.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And Gary Busey's son, Jake Busey,
Oh yeah.
who was also the
He's-
lead in Shasta McNasty.
I have not seen that.
It was a show on maybe like the WB or UPN or something like that back in the day.
Right.
Not really worthy
Yeah.
of tracking down.
Yeah. Well,
by the way, can I just make just another talk about raffle tickets are $5, 5 for 20.
yeah.
I'm just going to highlight a couple of we've got the original art pieces that are going to be done. They're not going to be like,
Mhm.
they're going to be quick, whatever we're calling them, drawings. But I do have a Stan Sakai.
I may do some work ahead of time on
Ooh.
mine. At least just do the layout of it anyhow, so I'm not like
Yeah, you're not going
killing
blind.
myself. Yeah.
Let me grab. I want to give everybody. I want to give everybody a little exclusive preview of some of the items that are going to be in the raffle.
Yeah.
So right now I think this might be the best of like the coolest thing that's in there is this Stan Sakai Usagi sketch.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I got that in person at Emerald City Comic Con. I just got Manu's donated items, and these are going to be in a pair. You get a new Stan Wizard 9 and a Wizard 1
Dude.
San Diego variant. That's
Nice.
the San Diego Comic Con, the SDCC one.
Wow.
So that's a prize. What else we got here? Oh, Tula and Becky donated signed copy of Somna 1 and Somna 2. So that'll be together. And then Chip signed this copy and little doodle of Spider-Man Life Story. And so with that, I'm also throwing in, you're going to get Sex Criminals Volume 1 and 2 trades.
Excellent.
So that'll be a chip pack, as they call it. What else do we have here? We've got a Neil Adams Superman 317 CGC.
Oh, that's great.
5. Yeah, it's really dope cover.
Mhm.
Deadly Class number 1, CBCS 98 signed by Wes Craig and Remender.
Awesome.
So that's there. What else do we have here? Andrew P donated this McFarlane lot of Comics Interview, the Marvel magazine, and the McFarlane poster magazine. And then there's
those are cool.
there's another piece there. What else do we have? J. Scott Campbell variant lot that a friend donated. Bryce, a couple of J. Scott covers. And then I have some other stuff coming in that's currently in the mail.
Nice. Yeah. And so those are prizes for if you buy the raffle tickets, right?
Yes, charity raffle. Like I said, $5 a piece, 5 for 20.
Awesome.
And the proceeds are going to be split between the two charities, Tiny Changes and the Laidler Music Money Scholarship. So one is a mental health charity and one is a scholarship charity. So and there'll be some original art also besides the stuff that's being done live on the stream. I have at least one friend sending me something in the mail.
Awesome. Thank you, Doc. Thank you very much. Always wanted. I guess you're talking about Wizard.
Oh yeah, I guess Wizard.
Yeah, I always wanted issue 1 because I never owned an issue 1. I don't own my. I don't have really any. I have a couple of issues left, but I had a stack going back to maybe issue 10, but nothing before that. Yeah.
They're great. I love them.
Yeah.
I have, I think, 2 copies of number 1, but I mean, We all love Wizard.
Mm-hmm.
We all do. So yeah. Well, he said it.
It's a Venom cover thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the noise.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Oh.
But yeah, awesome prizes, and yeah, I'm just looking forward to this. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it will, and you know, I just I will be happy when it's Friday night and I wake up Saturday morning and you know just basically sit here like Tony Montana, just giant mound of cocaine streaming for 12 straight hours.
Excellent.
Yeah. It'll be entertaining to watch my heart explode.
You're gonna need it. Sounds like. Yeah. Oh man. Well, shit. We've been going like 2 hours now. It doesn't feel like it.
No, it doesn't.
But yeah, I think probably a good place to wrap things up. But dude, definitely. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm definitely gonna have you back on the channel.
Yeah.
Maybe for casual Dracula, maybe we'll play a garbage game show or something.
Oh, garbage game show. Maybe maybe I'll sit that one out and Comic Tim will be here for that. We don't know. You never know with that guy with Comic Tim. He might just show up and be like, "Whoa," So.
Hooray!
Don't forget what day it is on right. Yeah, don't yeah.
Like I
next
won't.
Saturday is next Saturday, not next Friday.
Luckily my head is back on somewhat straight.
Good. And then you can get it all twisted up next weekend. Yeah. Yes. Oh man.
Twist. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you having me on. This was great, and it's nice because we'll be seeing each other next weekend, and then beyond. Yeah. I'm glad that we finally got to do this, and yeah, it's funny. I think we started talking maybe like a year or so ago, because I would see you in chats and stuff. But yeah, it's really nice to finally get to do this together.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and and also because like just kayfabe brought so many people together that way. Like who we're gonna have there next weekend? King Kayfabers, man. Like
I know it's
King Kayfabers rolling deep on the show.
Seriously,
show, so.
and it I just want to it's been a really tough week and week and a half, and I'm glad that we have each other to like kind of talk to, and I'm glad that I was able to get us all together, and we'll do that again. But yeah, man, it's really weird to lose somebody that I like I didn't know Ed. We were friendly and stuff, but yeah, it's surreal. It's really surreal.
That's it might be the best way to put it, really. It's it's been a weird couple of weeks, but the one thing I got out of it that's come out of it for me is just again like how amazing this community can be, how supportive it is despite all the like any of the negativity. It's just like I don't understand it, why people have to be that way, but I don't care because there's amazing people like you and everyone that's here in the chat tonight as well. Just it's totally awesome. Makes it all worth it for sure.
Yeah. And Derek, if you know what, if you want, I'll just read this out loud. I did hear from Jim, and he actually sent me a message to share. He said, if there's any message I have, I want everyone to take care of each other. We all lost someone, not just me. And it's important for everyone to heal and be kind to themselves. So keep looking out for each other. It's good to be there for others and to have people around for yourself too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what else to say about that.
No, I mean, I think that's all. Just be good to each other and be good to yourself. Like that's really the name of the game these days, because as much as I've worked on myself and all that, like your life is a work in progress. Like you don't get to just be like, yeah, I'm fine now. You know, like everything's okay. You know,
Yeah,
it's
it
not.
does not work that way.
Yeah, like injuries, sure, you know, but
Yeah.
your mental health and your brain, and your day to day life is a work in progress. But
It's fluid.
yeah, yeah,
It's always in motion. There's nothing, and you know, um, yeah, it's really and then you know, we all have our own. Everyone has their own uh, things that they've got to deal with, and
mhm,
you know, we just try and be here for each other as best as we can. And
yeah, yeah, and you know, when you need to lose yourself in a comic or a movie or a video game, do it. Just fucking do it. Like,
absolutely,
you know,
yeah.
like the daily escapes are more important, I think, as we get older. You
Mhm.
know, but
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So, but
yeah,
that's all. I think.
yeah,
Yeah. All
yeah.
right.
I think it's a good note to end it on. But I forgot when I just got to play this because I forgot. Let's just say that I've been looking at the chat for like half an hour and ignoring. I was supposed to do this at the beginning of the show. I forgot. Like, oh, let's see who's in the chat. Blah 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 blah. And then okay, I get all wrapped up. I get all wrapped up in talking to the chat. Oh, we got to start the show, guys.
Billy Joel.
Yeah. I I meant to play that earlier. There was no way I was going to end the show without playing that. I had to.
It's so good. It's so good. Oh,
Oh man.
and ending a show with a clip from the greatest Long Islander of all time, from a Long Island native. I'm into it. I'm into
I
it.
didn't you know what? I didn't even make that connection, but man, I'm glad I did. Yeah, I think that's a good place to end this, guys. But again, thank you, Dave, so much for this. I think this has been awesome. Thank you to Doc and Derek and everyone in the chat.
Yeah.
Manu, Biggie Shack, everyone.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome. And yeah, what do you got before we go? Obviously, you got Davenger Con coming up next weekend. What else you got going on?
Tomorrow morning on my channel, my
Mhm.
2-hour interview with Mike Allred drops.
Yeah.
6:30 in the morning Eastern, or 6:30 in the 9:30 in the morning Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. Danny Warren Johnson interview as the podcast on Monday. Davenger Con next week.
Mhm.
And then I'm going to take a long ass break from doing anything and read a bunch of comics and eat a bunch of chocolate pudding.
Nice. I like the sound of that. As for me, yeah, I'll be on as part of
Saturday.
Danger Con on Saturday. I do have another episode of Blood in Ink Out coming out. Should be sometime this week.
Nice.
Just got to record it. And yeah, I don't really have anything else planned as of yet. You know, that's how things go.
That's
here.
how life should be.
I'll make something when I feel like making it. So
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
But and if any of
Yeah.
your audience members are not subscribed to me, please do so. You know, if somehow by some miracle I go from 3,700 subscribers to 4,000 by DaveNgerCon, I'm going to give away $200 in credit to my shows.
Awesome. Yeah. Links are below, and Direct Edition is on YouTube, but you can also find it wherever you listen to other podcasts. So,
That's right. Spotify,
yeah.
Apple, Amazon, all
Yeah.
places.
You guys know how podcasts work. Come on.
You just go do 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 do.
That's it. Oh man. Yeah, I think that'll do it. Guys, thank you, Jar Jar, again. And
Thank you, Adrian. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. I'd like to thank you, the Academy, and our Lord and Savior Satan.
yes. Thank you guys. Have a good night.
Glory to you and your house.